Yes. Okay, so we can start. So again, we were just chatting. So we are now taking refuge, developing bodhicitta, and so we can continue after. We can continue to chat, but so lighted with the refuge and bodhicitta. So it means that okay, we go deeper in the chat eventually, and reflecting on mind training and trying to see how we can manage with that. So first refuge and bodhicitta. So the pure intention is to reach enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, but it means to be free from all the suffering and to develop all the qualities that we have in our mind. So this is our wish. Sangye chodong tsoge chonomla chongchong parto dani kyabsuchi dage jinso gepe sunange rola penchere sange ro paraisho semchen tamche dewa tang dewe gyo tang den paraijuru chiktu ngal tang dungal Tralwa joche dungal mebe dewa tongpa tang men tralwara juru Nyering cha dung nye tang chalwe tang nyum chen po la na pa juru ji. Pal den sawe lama rinpo che ta ge che waru pe me. Cho la ka rin chen pe go ne che sung te. Ko sung tuk ge ngo drum chal to sol. Okay. So very good. So we started with that prayer, with that wish, very important wish, in fact, obviously, indeed. And so now we can continue with the mind training. So I think today, so we prepared the field before, reflecting on the previous instructions before reaching the instruction on Tonglen. So Tonglen means exchanging. Tong means to give, len means to take. So the principle is to give all what is beneficial for us, all our wealth, root of virtues, talent, joy, happiness, everything we have, all the qualities also we have. So we give to others. And lend means I take all the difficulties, the suffering, the obscurations, the doubts, all the painful experience people can encounter, have in their life. So this is the principle, but the principle seems very easy, in fact. But yeah, for sure, it's not that easy because it's an exercise. So that's why we say mind training. So mind training, this is really important, as you know now. But it's really important to keep in mind. So mind training means we train ourselves in that way of understanding, in that exercise. So it doesn't mean that we really give something, we really take something. This is just to say, but we have to do it really seriously. It's a little bit like when we are a child, and so we say, let's say that I will be the king and you will be the queen. So you are playing with that, but you're playing very seriously, because if the parents they say, oh, okay, so now it's time we have to leave, they say no. We don't want to leave because it's really serious. They have to finish their play. So you cannot interrupt that. So it's really, but it has the sense of the drama because it's dramatic. To give everything what you have. So if you think about it, so it's just too much because it means that imagine that you are very rich. For you, for instance, Nikki, you have a beautiful voice. You sing, and you know how to sing. So it means that I give you all this ability, this talent, I give you definitely. This will be yours. So it's possible that in one instant you think, but if I give it, uh, doesn't mean I will lose that talent, because if I give something, it can be difficult for some time for someone. If I give something, it's really precious for me. So it's not that easy. So that's why we train ourselves with something not so easy, and we train that because and that's why we had to prepare the understanding of Lojong mind training, because uh, we train we enter in that exercise because we need that kind of exercise in order to de-grasp, let's say. It's like de-grasping the grasping. So it means that the root of suffering, according to the Buddha, it's very easy. The source of suffering is to misunderstand the reality. So maybe we can summarize all the Buddha's teaching. Maybe it's a little bit, it's quite, I don't know, maybe it's too much to say that, because who am I to say that I will summarize the Buddha's teaching? So it can be a little bit too much. But anyway, if we think about that, if we go back to the old teaching of the Buddhas, when he said the three marks of existence, it means that we have to reflect mainly on our misunderstanding. So a misunderstanding, it means, for instance, that we consider the I, the ego, as real. So this is a problem. We consider that things, phenomenon, that they are impermanent, they are permanent. So we have this kind of misunderstanding. And the third misunderstanding is to consider that happiness in the samsara, it's in fact really a real happiness. And in fact, it is transitory, so we cannot say this is the absolute happiness, so we are fooled by, it's like we're not only trapped, but we misunderstand things, because it's like there is no one, that who is trying to cheat us. Absolutely not. It's not the case. So we are cheating ourselves by ourselves. So we are developing this kind of trap. That's why Karmapa is clearly saying that there is not the samsara, and same with the karma, and there is not the karma and myself. This is absolutely not the case. So we cannot say that there is a samsara and I am in the samsara. I am the samsara. If I will not be here, so there will be no samsara. So samsara, it's the result, the fruit of my confusion. This is absolutely clear. So that's why we go to mind training. So this is important to keep in mind, because in fact, why are we saying that we have to train our mind? We train our mind in order to develop something different than samsara, to make it simple, to put it simple. And in fact, it is quite simple. It's not simple to try to do something different, because this is the problem of bhakta. Bhakta means, the tendencies. That's why we have karma. We have, in fact, tendencies. They are coming from actions. You cannot imagine to have a tendencies that comes from something different than actions. Everything comes from actions. So karma, it's always circular. Circular, it means that in fact you are conditioned, but you act in a conditioned way. So it means that it's not only that you are living I mean, we are sure. It's not you. No, definitely. We are living in a conditioned world, we can say. Okay. So, but when we react in that world, it means in our reality. So we are conditioning both the reality and ourselves. So that's why uh, it is in two sense. So it means that I live in a condition. I live in yeah, clearly, with the habits, with all of this. But when I react, I reinforce all these conditionment and habits I have. So that's why it goes in both way, because I suffer from the conditionment, but I reinforce the conditionment. So to say that, it's just a way of not explaining directly mind training, but understanding why we are speaking of mind training. What is the reason of that? The reason of that is that everything comes from conditionment. Everything comes from habits, from behavior we have, from way of thinking. You cannot imagine yourself living in a world in which you are not participating in building this world. It's impossible, absolutely impossible. On a Buddhist point of view, so this is a huge difference, maybe with other philosophies and other practices. Or even religion, and yeah, it's possible because, for instance, for a Christian, it doesn't mean they don't have talent and qualities, absolutely not. But for them, from the start, they imagine to be in the creation of someone. I'm not saying, it's not to arguing and saying, we are right, they are wrong. It's not that. It's just to to it's just how to say, it's just to take it seriously, the way we understand it's has an impact in the way we are doing things. So it's really easy to understand mind training when we understand that from the Buddhist point of view, from the Dharma point of view. Yes, absolutely, because you are a result of your training. In fact, you are the you are the really result. In fact, you cannot exist. We cannot. I cannot exist without the result of my actions. That's why Lama Tenzong always says, quoting the Buddha, saying, if you want to know your past, so look at your present. If you want to know your future, look at your present. Because, in fact, it's exactly these both way. I am the result of past, and I'm acting, making the future. Always. And in the same time. So this is really something, because so it means that I have to find my freedom in the middle of it. So if we take just 1 second of reflection, it's something, because it means that, just imagine that we are result of the past, not the past, but my past actions. I am acting right now, building my future. And so if I'm a result of my past actions, so how can I invent in a new way of acting if I am the result of my past? So when you take that phrase, this instruction, and you start to reflect on it, but you start really to reflect on it. Okay, okay. Let's say it's correct. So it's correct. So it means that right now I'm the exact result of my past actions. So it means that it's done. I cannot do nothing other than experimenting, the result of my past actions. So if this is true, so I have absolute no freedom, because what I'm saying, what I'm doing, it's exactly the fruit of my past. But this is not the Buddha's position. The Buddha's position is to say, and it's totally paradoxical, because in fact it's not logical, but he says, yes, or yet, but in fact, right now you are acting in order to create your future. So it means that if I'm acting, it means that even if I'm conditioned, so I can create something. So this is really the Dharma perspective of action. So this is really something interesting, because it's not the will of someone else. So I don't have a super power God who decide for what will happen in my life. And in the other way, so this can be an extreme, and on the other extreme, it will be to say or to think, I can do whatever I want. No, you cannot do whatever you want, because you are also conditioned. So again, if we reflect carefully to that, so again, we have to consider the middle way of Buddhist thinking. So Buddhist thinking, it's to say it's not A and it's not B. It's neither A or B. It's something. It's A and B. It doesn't mean you have to choose your side. So you are totally conditioned or totally free. It's not that. You are both. You are free, and your freedom is conditioned. So it means that you cannot act without the context of yourself. It's impossible. You act with your body, you act with your mind, you act with your senses, with your habits, behavior, culture, gender, everything. You have two kids, for instance, Nikki and Pavel. He has glasses, so it's a fact. So you perceive life through that, through your glasses, through your kids. Yeah. So okay, this is the reality in which you live. So you cannot say it's not my reality. You are living in a reality. So the question is how to discover freedom in that reality. So it's like if we were saying, okay, so if we are conditioned, but if we follow the Buddha's thinking, so it means that even conditioned, so I have a space of freedom inside of that. So it means that clearly inside of the samsara, so there is freedom to create something different inside of the samsara. So this is, in fact, huge because, it's absolutely not logical, It means that you have to find that kind of freedom. It's not granted, You can also, but this is freedom, because it's like saying that, yeah, we're conditioned, but not only conditioned. It means that my conditionment can lead to some freedom. I can use even the power of my conditionment to achieve some freedom. And so when we reach that point, so we are exactly in the process of mind training. Because mind training, it's a way of saying, so through conditionment, we'll discover freedom. Because we are conditioned, so this is a good news. The good news is that we are not free, in fact. Because if we are not free, it means that we create that non-freedom state of being, we can say. So if this is the case, so we have the possibility of creating a free state of being. If we reflect on that, just for 1 second, so if we are the result of our actions, so it means that we can create something different. Otherwise, it's impossible. Yeah, Nikki, please.
And as you said before, there is no samsara itself. I am the samsara. If I understood.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah, exactly. To make it simple, it's exactly that. This is the point. But it's just to take the time of reflecting on that, because if I say that and only that, so it means that okay, it's done, so you cannot do nothing because you are the samsara. So you cannot even fight against the samsara, because it will be a good news to say, oh, samsara, it's different than myself, but it's worst, because Buddhists, they are saying you are the samsara. So if you are the samsara, you cannot do nothing. Maybe you have to throw yourself in the, I don't know, in the waste bin, or to get rid of yourself. Maybe you can imagine this. I have to get rid of myself in order to be free if I'm the samsara. But, and this is the point, it's because you are the samsara that you can be the nirvana. If you go back to the main instructions in the Mahamudra, everywhere you will find this. They will say, yeah, for instance, we had a nice weekend with Lama Jampataye in Montchardon, and he was teaching an important teaching of Kamachama Rinpoche. Kamachama Rinpoche is a beautiful teacher of the 15th, 16th century in Tibet. Anyway, a teaching on Mahamudra, but we were mainly discussing on the first part of the teaching. But anyway, when you read the introduction of that teaching, he says, he and all the accomplished masters, mind, it's at the root of both samsara and nirvana. So both. So there is no samsara and there is no nirvana out of this mind. So this is a really important point. So it means that, yes, I'm the samsara, but I don't have to forget that I'm also the nirvana. Otherwise, this is not good. Because if you are just the samsara, no, it doesn't work. So if I'm both, so I start to understand my freedom. Otherwise, I cannot understand my freedom. So it means okay, I understand maybe theoretically, what is this freedom, because I'm both. But in practically, how this freedom will express itself, and so it will express itself. The freedom will express itself inside of the conditionment. So not outside of the conditionment. So it means that samsara will be the way for me to work in order to develop freedom. So this is excellent. This is really extraordinary. So it means that conditionment, I can use conditionment in order to transform conditionment. So in fact, if we reflect properly to that, so we can even say that Lojong, it's not only at the root of the Mahayana, but also the root of Vajrayana. Because it's really transforming the situation. When we have that instruction saying, so we have to use all the bad circumstances in order to transform these into good circumstances. So we find that kind of instructions a lot, in fact, in mind training perspective. So it's absolutely in tune with Vajrayana. No problem with that. Because in Vajrayana, we're not saying we abandon the world. We are saying we develop pure view. So developing pure view, it's not to transform the world. It's to transform the way I perceive the world. So this is the power of transformation. So in fact, understanding mind training, it means I start to understand Vajrayana also, and I start to understand Mahayana. Because, I start to understand Dharma. Because when Dharma says to me that I'm the fruit of my actions, so I understand this not as a bad news, but as a good news. Because I can use it. I can find the freedom inside my actions. So mind training goes with that, absolutely. So it means that things has to be not real in order to transform. So that's why first we had to reflect on ultimate bodhicitta. So we had to reflect on the fact that everything is like a dream. So otherwise, we believe too much in what we are experimenting. So when we believe too much in what we are experimenting, we are not creative. It's impossible. If someone is very bad with you, so the problem is that it stopped there. So you think that this person is bad. So it means that when I'm convinced, tu peux venir, ma chérie, si tu veux. Je peux t'interrompre une microseconde. Yeah. Agathe has to say something. Viens.
Hello,
Comme ça, tu dis bonjour.
Hello, nice to see you. Sorry for my little interruption.
No problem.
Il y a un concert ce soir à l'église à 20h, ça a l'air sublime.
Oui.
Je voulais y aller, donc
bien sûr.
Mais tu me rejoins.
Tu m'envoies les infos.
Fini? Oui.
Okay.
Ok, see you, take care.
Non, vas-y, bien sûr. Tu me dis où c'est, puis c'est tout. So this is really interesting because I have to be convinced that everything is a dream in order to transform the phenomena. Otherwise, I cannot do. If I have a really conviction that the other one is a really bad guy, so I'm stuck. I'm stuck there. There is no other perspective. So mind training, what it means that even if the reality seems so fixed, so rigid, so I find something smooth in that. So I find the space of freedom inside that grasping. Because it's not another thing that a grasping, in fact. Saying that, for instance, this situation is bad, it's a point of view, first. So it has nothing absolutely real, even if it's bad, relatively speaking. And so if you cultivate that way of thinking, so this is grasping. So grasping, it's not something mysterious, thinking, I'm grasping or not. As soon as we cultivate a way of thinking, so we are grasping. So it means we are consolidating. It's we're making more concrete, more rigid. Things, thought after thought. So he is bad. And you go back with that. He is bad, or this is bad, and again. So after 10 times, so obviously it starts to be very bad. So it means that you are stuck. First, you are stuck. Secondly, you have no freedom. It goes with that, because when we are stuck, you have no freedom. And third, you have more suffering than at the beginning. Because you find no way out. Impossible. No way out. So the only way is to train your mind. It's to train our mind. We have to train our mind. We have to. It's not, it's compulsory. It's not an option, We cannot say, okay, I will practice the Dharma and not transforming my mind. It's absolutely contrary. It doesn't go together. If we practice the Dharma, so we have to change our mind. We cannot practicing the Dharma and not changing our mind. So when we understand this, so we start to understand also that saying mind training or wanting to learn mind training or wanting to practice mind training, it's not a luxury. We have to. In fact, we have to. In fact, we all have to go through mind training. Otherwise, Dharma means nothing. Clearly. Because practicing mind training means reality is no more stuck, is no more rigid. So we found the key to freedom. We found the possibility of creating another reality. And so we are doing this. But we cannot do that forgetting what we have trained in. So that's why all the first instructions before Tongle we have to keep in mind. So this is really important. Otherwise, impossible. When we are in the exercise of Tongle, so it means that what you are offering, what you are taking, what is this? And so if you imagine that it's really something that exists, and so you are the owner of that, if you can, but you have to be totally aware of that. So if you are totally aware of that, it's like saying, imagine I have something, and I really imagine it's mine. And I know that it's totally crazy because it's not mine. I cannot say it's mine forever. It will never be mine. Even if I say my computer, my girlfriend, my cat, my house, never. It will never be mine. So this is really quite a trouble, when I realize that, because, it can be really insecure. But anyway, I have to consider that. It's never mine. But if I'm aware of this craziness, so I can use it. So it means I will give you something I'm totally attached to, and I give it to you. So if I give it to you, so it means it will be very difficult, and this is marvelous, because it means that you really get rid of something. So this is the particular aspect of Lojong. The particular aspect of Lojong, it's that you have to be ordinary. If, for instance, you are totally free already, you already realized emptiness and everything. You have no more attachment to everything. So yeah, sure, you can do Tonglen, absolutely, it will be marvelous. But you are not training really yourself, because you are already trained. But so Lojong, it's not for these kind of people. It's for the kind of people, for us, in fact, the non-trained one. The one who doesn't know how to do it. So we have to be ordinary in the way of even a little bit confused. If we are a little bit confused, it's very good. So it means that when I'm attached to something, so first I'm attached. Secondly, I can be aware of that. So I'm aware. It means that I'm not playing a game. I'm an ordinary people suffering from the rest of all the sentient beings. So I know that. And because I know that, I try to give it to the other. Like a little child who has a game, a little truck, for instance. It's his truck, and the mother say, try to just, let the other one play with your truck. And for the children, it's really, sometimes it's difficult, He needs the confidence of his mother just to say, yes, why not? And after, he's looking at the other, playing with the truck. So it's quite something, because maybe he will keep the truck. So there is a sort of fear. So the truck will the truck goes back to myself, or it will be definitely the other one, So in fact, it's a game. It's a play. And through that, you are learning something. So that's why we have to be confused. We have to be full of klesha. Otherwise, we cannot do Lojong. We cannot do Tonglen. Sure, one day we'll have no klesha. It will be perfect. But the work, so the training, goes with the klesha, not without the klesha. Did I already gave you this marvelous quotation from Seychilbu? I don't remember. Maybe yes. Yeah, You remember that? You know Seychelles. It's some it. You remember something or not?
Say again, please.
I think the last day you gave it to us.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I can give it to you again. Yeah, I can give it to you again. I will. I will. Because it's really interesting. Yeah, really interesting. So I will see. Normally I find it will be easy. I hope, because sometimes it's not easy. Lojong. Yes. Yeah, but I have it in. Yeah, so that's why it's. I have it only in French in that part. Anyway, to make it short, Seychelles says that practitioner of Lojong needs to be sensitive. So he's using the image of humidity, saying the humidity of attachment has to be present in their heart. So it means that they don't have to be perfect. If they are too perfect, difficult. Because when you have to give something, better if you have to give something that you are attached to. Otherwise, you are not giving something. You are just giving something that you don't want. You want no more. And so it's easy to give. But we know that, it's a very normal and easy experience. We know that when it's easy, it takes not much efforts. It's just easy. So I give you, yeah, you can take it. No, but here we are saying, I give you my happiness. And so the problem is that we imagine it's easy. No. But normally, giving our happiness means that I really have to give it in the sense that other will have my happiness. It's no more mine. So normally, it's just, I have to dramatize. I have to be like in a movie. It's a soap opera. I'm giving the best thing I had. My life. I give you my life. I give you my happiness. I'm giving something very, very precious. So that's why I'm saying we need let's say a good dose of klesha. If we have no more klesha, it will be difficult to give something. It will be difficult to learn something. So I need also to be angry. If I have no more anger, so difficult to develop passions. For instance, yes, Pavel.
Jean-Marc, I have according that, I was reading some book, I don't remember which one, but it was like a student was asking a teacher, could you give me your mala?
Yes.
And then the teacher was giving his mala, even it was a very precious mala, no?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, for example, if this could be a way to check a teacher, for example.
Yes.
No, if you ask for something like is precious, if the teacher because has not this attachment could give you, for instance, I can tell you, Jean-Marc, could you give me this wonderful statue which you have there in your altar, and then this, which sounds a little strange, but it's somehow when we decide that is not anymore a practice or is something like if we apply in our daily life. This is the idea I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, sure. And I think it's a good question because for that we have to go back to our motivation, really the true motivation. If my motivation is to, it depends what I want to know. And for what kind of reason I want to know. So first, I would say the first things I need if I practice really, is to check myself, not to check others. So this we can say. But in some occasion, yes, why not? I can check the other one. But I have to go back to my motivation. So for what? So for what purpose? Which, what is my purpose? Even just imagine that the other one, he is full of attachment. Yeah, okay. So you know that. But what was the purpose? The purpose was to prove that, or the purpose was to say, could I learn something from him, from that person, or not?
Would be just to check the if the person, if the teacher has attachment or not to that in
No, I
order.
understand. But if you have the proof of that, for instance, just it's like two proposition. So you check, okay, because the point is to check if the person has attachment or not. Okay, and after you conclude that he has attachment, so what do you do with that? So it means that at that moment you have to go back to your motivation, because if you don't have a clear motivation, so you don't know what to do with that, because you will only know that the other one has attachment, yes, but for you,
Yeah, but in this case, for example, I could say, if this person is teaching me about attachment and so on, then has not it's just like repeating words.
Absolutely.
Not
Sure.
not like something like the person realized.
Sure, but yeah,
So, something like this, no?
yeah,
Like could
sure,
be.
yeah, I understand. Yes, clearly, but it means that and I can really understand this, because we need also some good examples. So we cannot say we don't need good examples. But I will say again, A and B, not only A or B. So A means a good example, and B, it means also that I need the instructions because I need them. So it means that if the person, it's not a pure, absolute realized bodhisattva, and he has still a lot of attachment, and he is an ordinary being, but if he's serving properly the Dharma, letting me the possibility, or giving me the possibility of having a good understanding and a good practice of the Dharma, even if this person is not very good, the Dharma is very good. So this means A and B, because maybe also I can check my need of having something perfect. So and this also has to be questioning, because so it's quite tricky, because we cannot be absolute, saying that even if the other is very bad, so it doesn't matter, because only the Dharma is needed. This will be a little bit too much, because we need also, we are ordinary human beings. So as you say, if we don't have the proof of the quality of the other one, so it will be very difficult for ourselves to be confident. So we need that confidence. So this is absolutely important. And in the text,
Especially because in the whole stories of the teachers,
yes,
the examples which makes you feel like, wow,
yes,
this is great, is when they are so generous with everything.
absolutely.
It's like really, and also when you read all these life stories of them, you see always the same pattern, like they give everything, and then
Yeah, sure.
I think it is normal that also one make the connection with
Yeah, yeah,
such
absolutely.
a man,
Absolutely. So that's why, but we cannot be too rigid on that point, because when you grow up, when you are a little bit more mature, so at one moment you understand that you are making that journey for yourself also, because this is the important point. Even if the other one is not very good, but the Dharma is precious, and the Dharma comes first. So
Yeah.
your attachment, if we want to speak of, if we want to use attachment in that context, we can say that I prefer to have, and I need to have attachment more to the Dharma than to the person. The person is not as but it's not to say it's not important, but it's not the point. So the point is the Dharma, because the master, for instance, the master will pass. The
Yeah.
master will not remain. But the Dharma will remain,
Yeah,
hopefully.
but there is also in the qualities of the teacher. There is also, there is like they have the transmission and so on. But
Yes,
also there is something that the teacher realize
yes,
in certain way what is teaching about,
yes, you're right.
and
So that's why
and
it's important.
this is something which about attachment. To realize what is attachment a little is to get less of this.
Sure,
It's not like
absolutely. No, so that's why, on a pedagogical point of view, it's absolutely important to have a good example. We cannot say it's not important, and so you're right. You can check, but again, we have to check our motivation. So it means that I just the point is to find a good master, for instance, a good teacher, or to find a good spiritual friend with whom I can make a piece of the path. Maybe it will be the entire path, or maybe not. I don't know, but so yeah, and if I check for that reason, so it's very good, because in fact it's clear in our mind. So what we need good conditions, and so we'll not spend too much time in checking others, because it's not the point. The point is to check ourselves. But sure, it's a question of measure. So we have to be balanced, not to be too much in one side. But
and
but
also
you
I think also it's a way of checking the practice of oneself. No,
yeah, yeah, sure,
if after 10 years of doing Tongle, one has the same attachment to
absolutely,
the same thing.
absolutely.
There is one can really, I don't know. This is why I'm thinking that the part of the Tongle, which as you say, no, it's something like you really appreciate and you give, no,
Hmm.
even but when to know that one should have the aspiration of really giving everything, no, in
Yeah,
a
sure.
way.
No, but in fact, but yeah, no, it's interesting, because this question um, demand to going back to the general point of the spiritual relation we have with someone. And if we are really Buddhist in a way that we do things traditionally, it means that first we check, and so it's absolutely right. So first we check, because we need qualities in the teacher. So it's absolutely necessary. But after, we don't have to take too much in checking. When we check, we need time. So we need all the time we need. It can be a month, years. Really, why not? 5, 10 years. Yeah, this is really important. But when we mature, we know that person. Okay, okay, I can be confident. I can trust. So it's okay. I can trust. So after, you move on, and even if the person has yeah, maybe bad mood sometimes, or shortcomings, it's not really the point, because you took time to check. Otherwise, if you don't take this time for checking, so this can be very dangerous. But after, we have to move on, because when we move on, but after checking, so it means that we are on the path. So, for instance, for mind training, it means that we are on the path. So these instructions are useful for those that are on the path. So at that point, so it's like considering that you already checked. So it's already done. It's already done, and so you know that you are working together, uh, walking and working both. You are trying to train both. You are trying to train. So you need the feedback of the other one in order to go further, in order to continue the path. So it means that at that point, mind training, yes, again, it's already done. So you are doing the path. So the experience of the other one is very useful for making the path. At that moment, you don't have to check again, because at that moment you grown up, and so you already know how to deal with a situation. Even bad masters, let's say, because yeah, you don't fool yourself. You're clear with that. You're clear with that. You are clear that the Dharma, it's not to be in messy relation, with a sort of, yeah, like children. It's not the point. Just to be full of admiration for nothing. No. No, because it's not interesting. For in a perspective of mind training, confusion can be interesting if we are questioning the confusion. But if we are stuck in our confusion, it's not interesting. But if we have confusion and we are looking at that, so this is marvelous, because this is really exactly Lojong. Trying to use all the situation to do Lojong, to do Tonglen. And so with that, it's good. So and after, so we can, in order to continue, we can use the instruction in order to do Tonglen. And so if we go back, maybe we can go back to the text, because now we understood that we are trying to develop freedom inside this really teeny space between, not between, but within samsara and nirvana, within that possibility. So we are in the middle of that, and in the middle of that, in the middle of my confusion, my attachment, my anger, my desire, my all my shortcomings, within that I'm practicing. Practicing with that. So Tonglen start to be meaningful, because you know your confusion. So why it is important? So we have to check that. Why it is important? So we saw already many reasons for that. It is important because otherwise you will never have love and compassion for others. So this is a big point. Very, very big point. Because I cannot wish for others to be free from suffering if I don't understand that I need to be free from suffering. So it means that I need to understand the weight, the importance of my confusion. And so this is really important. So confusion, it's also really interesting for that, because otherwise it's not very useful. Just to be confused, it's not useful. But if I know myself as a polytoxicoman, really totally addict to the samsara, so I can start to understand what it means for others to be in the samsara. Otherwise it's impossible to know. So it means that I need both. I need understanding of my confusion, understanding of the root of my suffering, the suffering itself. So I need also to understand emptiness, because emptiness, it means that I understand that I don't understand the phenomena. So this is emptiness, in fact. So I understand that I grasp to phenomena, thinking that they are full of something, and in fact they are devoid of something I think I can grasp. I need to understand that confusion. So I need to use emptiness in order to understand the deep, the measure of my confusion, because the measure of my confusion, it's emptiness that shows me. Because more I realize emptiness, the less I'm confused. So the more I don't realize emptiness, the more I'm confused. And so it means the more I'm confused, the more I'm suffering. So that's why it's absolutely important to understand that in order to do Tonglen. Because in Tonglen, it means that when I say I free others from suffering, yes, okay, yes, I'm freeing others from suffering. But if I'm saying this, thinking, oh, poor sentient being, I will free you from suffering. No, because it means that you imagine that you are out of this game. No. I free other from suffering because I exactly know what it means to be in this samsara and to suffer from that. Otherwise, my wish is not a real wish. It's just, I'm so good because, I'm thinking that I'm freeing the other one, or they need me, If I don't do that, so the world will be worse. So it's so good to help the world. No. I'm not helping the world. I'm helping myself. I'm curing myself. Clearly. So for that, I need to understand my confusion. Because, again, when I understand it clearly, so it means that I can do the wish. So may all sentient beings be free from suffering. Because they need to be free from suffering. It's not good to free them. It's just necessary, compulsory. Why? Because I need to free myself. So this is the equality with others. So it means that first we think, we reflect on the preliminaries. After that, we reflect on ultimate bodhicitta. And after that, we start with relative bodhicitta. So starting with a relative bodhicitta, so it means that it's clear. It's clear that I need to free myself. It's clear that there is confusion. So it's clear that if there is confusion, there is suffering. So it's clear that wishing, when I say I breathe in, thinking that I'm taking all the sufferings of others, so Jungong Controller in his commentary, what he's saying you accompany that with a great joy. Always. So this is the key point. But okay, joy, yes. Yeah, cool. Yeah, a great joy. But great joy, it's not, wow, it's so wonderful because now everyone are happy. It's not, a naive joy. It's a really deep-rooted joy. It's the joy that this is exactly what all sentient beings they are waiting for. Why? Because I'm waiting for that. So this is the equality with other. The first. After there is the exchange with other, as Shantideva is showing us. So you cannot exchange the situation with others if you don't understand the similarity of the situation with others. So that's why the great joy comes from the fact that you really understand that what you are waiting for is for the end of suffering. So if you are totally sincere in that, so you can start to be totally sincere when you say, may all the sufferings of others comes, dissolve in me. So this is so pure, so powerful because yes, this is what I want. So I'm doing for the other exactly what I want for me. If I'm thirsty, so I know what it is to be thirsty, to need to drink something. So I know the joy for the other one. So I can also feel the joy giving some water to other one because I know what it is. when I receive it, for myself. So this is really important, So because otherwise we think that we are a superior being, like a Superman or Superwoman, and we'll deliver the we'll free the world from the evil, and thinking that we have superpower. No, we are training ourselves in order to reach enlightenment. So in order, we are doing Tonglen, we are doing Lojong in order to get rid from our own confusion. Finally, at the end is realizing the Buddhahood. So for that, so we have to do the journey. We have to go through that journey. So we need others. So that's why master of Lojong, master of mind training, they say sentient beings are more important than the Buddha himself. For that reason, because of all these sentient beings, they are creating me so many problems. So they are showing me that in fact the real problem is to suffer. So I want to get rid from that suffering. So I need to understand this. So yeah, that's why yeah.
One thing
They disappeared. They disappeared in the void of emptiness. Yes.
They got realized.
Yeah. So Nikki, we're together. So
Yes.
and with all sentient beings. Marvelous. Okay. Okay, excellent. So we'll wait for them. They will go. They will
Yes.
come back. Yeah, sure. But yes, I think I don't know for yourself, but for me it's a key point. Yeah, I have to understand this. Yes. They are coming back. Sure, they are coming back. They are coming back. Yes, you are back. You are back.
yeah.
Sure. Yes.
One thing, because we start with the reflection about the absolute bodhicitta.
Yes.
Then in the absolute bodhicitta, of course, related with the emptiness and also the lack of self-existence, no?
Yes.
Then if we start with this point, because that means that when I do the Tonglen, also I have to not to put so much emphasis
Mm-hmm.
in the idea like I exist. For example, for me will be a way to have more compassion for them, to know that I know that the empty nature of phenomena, even if it's in a mental way, no?
Mm-hmm.
And the other beings, they don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And because of they don't know that, they are suffering because they are in the state of ignorance.
Sure.
And even if I'm not a superhero,
Mm-hmm.
but I have the reflection of the empty nature of the phenomena.
Absolutely.
Then when do the Tonglen, this part of, I'm in the same point, because you talk very much about the equanimity with others, the quality, this quality, and I understand that, but for me personally, and I'm not sure if this is my view is right or not, connect more with me if I'm in the point that I'm doing the Tonglen, knowing that I don't have a real existence in a way, like as you say, it's both and, no, it's both. I'm here, but on the other hand, it's also empty. The expression, no, of the
Mm-hmm.
luminosity and emptiness, no, the expression, and even in this state, I'm doing the Tonglen to free the beings from this ignorance,
Mm-hmm.
that they don't know. Do you follow what I want to say? is like for me the it's not so much I'm suffering like you, and this is why I want you to I want to take all these things. It's more I know I don't have a real existence in a way. The I doesn't exist in himself, and because I know that, or there is this wisdom. From this wisdom, I want you to get rid of your
Sure,
ignorance.
sure, I understand. It's just that if I experiment this in my flesh, so I will be more convinced of the absolute necessity of be free from that. Because I think for us, the problem for us it means us as a Buddhist, is that we are very good with the theory of that, like non-self and everything, but in fact we are sometimes very far from the emotion coming from believing in self. So when I suffer, it's because I believe in self. When I want something and I cannot get it, and it's frustrating, it's because of my ego. But it's not to say ego it's evil. It's not that. It's to say, because I believe in that, so I'm stuck in that samsara. I'm reacting the way I'm doing. So it means that if I have the chance of really understanding this point, when the Buddha says, when there is grasping, there is suffering, if by chance I really understand this, so I can really start to make the wish to free others from suffering. Otherwise, it will be difficult for me. Because, true compassion comes from the realization of emptiness. So it means that there is more than an understanding. There is something that it is experimental, like really a real experience of that. And so you suddenly, all of a sudden, so you realize, wow, it was this. So it's like, okay, it's more than I thought. It's really incredible. So I don't know, because I think we all are going to that. So we are going in the direction of realizing this. But for sure, the all the great accomplished were not only good philosopher. There were also they had a good heart, a real compassion, a real bodhicitta. And so this real bodhicitta, why it is because it's really serious, really believing in ego as ego, thinking that it really exists. It's really the mess. It's really the root of all suffering. But for sure, it's not just, a beautiful theory. It's really, really real. And so it's just to say, all what you are saying, it's absolutely right, no problem with that. But it's to say that for us as a practitioner, so we really have to be sensitive. But it doesn't mean I have to cry with others. It's not this. I have to discover in myself the profundity, the incredible, how to say, the incredible presence of this ignorance. So I have to see that. So really, it's like, for in fact, we have to be like the Buddha. When he decided to go out of the palace, he really realized that he has to find a solution. It cannot be like this. So people, they cannot continue just to take birth, to live, to get sick, to get, to be old, to suffer, to die again and again and again and again. So, when the Buddha realized that, so he thought, I have to find a solution to death. So it's really something, imagine. So, we are far from that, because for us, it's like, yeah, we develop something, but it means that we need to find a way of really understanding the bodhicitta. So bodhicitta means that I have, the only way, it's not to see yourself or whoever, oh, very sad, how they suffer. No, this, it's good, but it's not enough. I have to see myself creating my path of suffering, I have to see myself creating the condition for this samsara to continue again and again. So if I see that, really, if one day I understand, how far I am, trapped in that samsara, so it will be a shock, I'm sure, And maybe till now I didn't understand. It's possible, It's possible that, in fact, I don't know. Because sometimes I imagine, if I really know, I will be like Milarepa, definitely. I will have no doubt. I will do not a single thing that has no meaning in the direction of the Dharma. But I'm far from that. I can confess that in front of you, of all. In fact, I don't have to hide this. It's not the case. I'm not totally convinced. So this is the problem. All my laziness, for instance, comes from that. Sure, definitely. All the lack of true compassion I may have, idealistically, in the best position. And anyway, the lack of compassion I have comes from that, because I don't understand properly.
Jean-Marc, the lack of compassion. Also, I'm not talking about you, because the lack of compassion comes also from the lack of the experience of the emptiness. Because because for me, it's like really. I don't want to talk about myself in this case, or experience or no experiences, but when you have more experience of openness to the suffering of everyone, is when you have more experience of lack of existence of yourself. This is why for me, it's what I want to say is to have this feeling of helping all beings doesn't comes to me from the understanding how much they are suffer, because
no. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this.
No, in my case,
but
about the suffering is more an understanding about experience about the nature of the mind in the sense of
no, sure, but I'm not saying that we have to understand suffering of others. It's not that. This is not the point. I have to understand my suffering.
Oh, your suffering, because it's the same at the end.
It's the same. It's exactly the same. So that's why. No. It's not understanding. I will never understand your suffering, Regina's suffering, Nikki's suffering. It's impossible for me, because I'm not in yourself. So I will never know. I will never understand this. I will never understand the way, the sensation you have when you eat an apple. I will never know. I will never know what it is for you to drink a coffee. It's impossible. I will never know. But I know.
Until you realize. When you realize, you will know.
Yeah. But now, right now, I know what it is to have a good thing in my mouth. So I know what it is to have a good sensation. I know what it is when I suffer. So this I know. So if I know that you know.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what is happiness for you. I don't know exactly what is suffering for you. But I know that when you suffer, you suffer. When you are happy, you are happy. And why I know that? I know that because when I suffer, I suffer. When I'm happy, I'm happy. So this is exactly what Shantideva says. There is not your suffering, my suffering. There is only the suffering.
Yeah.
And so
But
this is the point. This is the point.
But the suffering in intensity, for example,
Interestingly, you cannot know.
exactly, because, for
No.
example, for us, we have a very blessed life
Sure,
until
sure,
now,
sure, sure, sure.
and we cannot, we probably, I don't know, but now I can't experience what the people from,
Yeah, you
I
cannot.
don't know, from
No.
Ukraine are feeling,
Sure, sure, you cannot.
and this should not be my and probably, as you say, I can't put myself in the place of others, because in this sense, because I will never know what they are suffering,
Sure, sure, we'll
probably.
never know. So that's why we have to understand this fact, accept this fact, but it doesn't mean that we can do nothing. It means that, as exactly Shantideva, really we have to go back to that. So if I really understand that, if I really feel, it's not just understanding. If one day I really feel the really true wish to be free from suffering, but the real wish, I really want to stop this samsara. For instance, if one day I'm totally convinced from that, of that, not from, of that, I'm totally, it's absolutely clear. So it's absolutely clear that all other beings has to be free from samsara. This is absolutely sure. And yeah, because it cannot be in another way. So the Buddha, he was teaching what he taught to all people, because he was absolutely convinced that he has to give to them the key for finding happiness and freedom. But why? Because he knows that we need to be free. And why? We have to go back to the first truth of the Noble Ones. Why he said the first truth is dukkha? Because we ignore that. So when he said that this is the truth of the Noble Ones, it means that you have to be an Arya, a noble one, to understand this. An ordinary person never understands that. So we know that we suffer, but we don't know what is dukkha. We know that we suffer, but we don't know that we are in the samsara. We know that we suffer, but we don't know why we continue to be in the samsara. So that's why the Buddha said, dukkha, it's the first truth for the noble ones. So it means that you have to realize something that you never realized. You never. So this was his teaching. So it means that he taught something that no one never taught before him, in fact. So why? Because this was the realization of the Buddha. This was the immense realization of the Buddha. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to speak in that way. So for him, he wanted, sure, otherwise, why to say that? So he wanted that we understand. So if we understand, so we can really develop bodhicitta. Otherwise, no. So it means that when we have this conviction, so we start Tonglen. So we start Tonglen with that. So, and so we do Tonglen. So it means that joy can come. The real joy can come. Because you can really give happiness, virtue, everything. Oh, so beautiful, I want this for myself. I know what it is. So I give it to you. It's so beautiful to receive it. You want to be free from suffering. I know that because myself, I want this. So really I know. So when I take this suffering, I know that now I imagine you are free. So what a joy. So so it's to say, yeah, for me, first when I was reading, listening, because from years, I'm okay listening, hearing these instruction. First, in fact, really, I have to say, for years, I didn't pay attention to that sentence. I didn't pay attention that in Jungle Control commentary, he was saying, with a great joy. But in fact, it is written, So I started to think myself, to reflect on that, but why he's saying this, And this is also thanks to Lama Sangpo, thanks to the practice of the Dharma, thanks to Lama Tenzin, slowly, just the small understanding of this, the joy. Yeah, joy. But what the joy? Because the joy. Because you are really doing something that you want for you, And so you understand that, okay, so this is not a game, So to get rid of suffering, to free others from suffering, it's not because, wow, it will be so marvelous, to be a superhero. No, it's not that. It's because it's exactly what I need. So I can have the true wish that it will happen for you. Because imagine I'm alone, totally alone. When I'm thinking it would be so nice to have someone in my life. So when I have this, so I can make the wish for others. All those they are alone. May they find someone in their life. So when, yeah, because you know what it is, So this is a really simple example. We don't have to be so much simple, but we have to be clear that we are doing something because it is rooted in our deep understanding, and we know that because all of this comes from the non-realizing emptiness. All of this. Because not realizing emptiness means believing in the true existence of an ego, of an I, but there, no, in fact not. But yeah, okay. And so when everything takes place in my mind, understanding of preliminaries, understanding of bodhicitta, ultimate bodhicitta, understanding of all what we were, sharing this evening. So, okay, we can do Tonglen. And so we do Tonglen. With conviction, we do Tonglen. With joy, really we do Tonglen. And we do, because after, doing Tonglen, maybe one day we'll say, oh, wow, but it's too much to take all this negativity. No. We'll not get stuck in that. Because, because we start to be a bodhisattva, and a bodhisattva, yes, he wants that everyone be free. As I remember Lama Tenzin once, he was, speaking of what it is to be a bodhisattva, and it was marvelous, For me, it was, wow, I was translating for him, and he was totally, he was speaking with a lot of strength and conviction, and really, I remember, I was totally in the same mood, we were both, totally, involved in that. And, and Lama Tenzin said, yeah, but for a bodhisattva, even for one single being, he will jump into the hell realms, and he said that with a total conviction, with no doubt, and for me, it was, wow, I really discovered that, in fact, he was thinking in that way, he was that kind of bodhisattva, totally, with no doubt. And after, when you see his life, when you see how dedicated he was for others, for the lineage, for the Dharma, so it's absolutely sure. So, it comes from that conviction that yes, it's real. Yes, we have to be free from suffering, without any doubt. So, yeah, so I have to train myself in order to discover this, in order to be convinced. So, doing Tonglen in that understanding. So slowly, I do Tonglen, yeah. When I do Tonglen, I'm not doing Tonglen every day. So I would normally I have to do. Why not? But maybe I do in another way anyway. We do as we can also. But it means that yes, we can really go and train ourselves in that Tonglen. So from that we can start. I thought this evening we'll do Tonglen together, but in fact not. But on the other hand, so I think it was good to share, to see these points, because now it's totally clear. So we have to do. I don't know for yourself. I hope you didn't waste your time thinking that we'll do Tonglen this evening. But in fact, it's good for me. For personally, I'm happy, because it seems that everything is in it's in place. We organized the field correctly. We have all the elements, so we can really do the practice. I have this feeling. I hope it's true. I don't know, but we can try. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, but maybe we can maybe we have to stop now. Also, it's okay for you?
Very good.
Okay, not too frustrating. Okay. Okay.
I'm very happy, Jean-Marc, because for me to practice having clarity is better than practice without having clarity, and this is why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. So I propose, we do Tonglen the next time, okay? Because now we have everything we need, so we can really do the practice. We can start with the, with the prayer we have at the beginning of the text. Do you have the text of with the prayer and everything? You have it? Yes. Okay, perfect. So next time, so we use it. And I have it. Yeah, I have the. Yeah, sure, I have the practice in with the French translation, but it would be very nice to have it in English also, if someone demand. So if someone ask, maybe you have it. I don't know. Otherwise, I will check. And so.
Friend from Oshaldo.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Anyway, because we can say to ourselves, to others also, those they will ask maybe for the link for the replay. So okay, we make it clear. So this is the direction where we go, and the next day and next time, so we do Tonglen together. Okay, really, with the practice and everything, with the prayer. Okay, perfect, very nice. Yeah. Thank you, friends. So we stop with the dedication. It's okay for you? Okay. So we can really we can give to all sentient beings this virtue of understanding what we understood. So sunam di tamche zingpa ne tomne nyepe dranam pamjen gega na jen balak chukpa yi sipe tsole dowa dolwara isho. Yes, this beautiful prayer when we say, realizing omniscience, all knowledge. So, destroying the inner enemies. So, may I free all the sentient beings, taken by the waves of the ocean of existence, these waves of birth, death, sickness, old age. may all sentient beings be free from this ocean of suffering. So this is really the wish we have, and this prayer can be really true. Okay. Thank you, my friends, precious friends. It's nice for me it's a pleasure really to take time to reflect on the Dharma with you. Yeah, it's good. So we go slow, but yeah, we do together. So it's a beautiful journey. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Very precious, and have a good
Yeah,
journey.
really. Yeah, it's precious. Thank you very much. All and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and see you in January. Okay.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Bye bye to all of you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.